My name is Camille Deal. I am the program director for Veteran Pen Pal Project, and I'm the fundraiser coordinator for our organization as a whole. It's a Military Life.
So how did you get involved with It's a Military Life to start?
So I have been connections with Christina on LinkedIn for a few years now. And just because, as military spouses, we do a lot to get to know each other virtually. And I saw that she was starting her organization a few years ago. And I was like, oh, that's neat. And she knew that my husband, and he still is, was active duty at the time. And she asked me if I wanted to participate in one of the programs that they were highlighting. And it was a Veteran Pen Pal Project initiative called Love Letters. And she was like, if you and your husband, have sent letters on deployment or whatever else, do you want to participate in this? And I said, sure, why not? And so that was sort of that. That was the end of it. Fast forward a few years, I see that she's posting about how they're looking for some volunteers for professional volunteer opportunities for It's a Military Life. And I was thinking to myself, there is no way, because I have a 3-year-old, I have a 6-month-old, and at the time he was 2.5 months old. And I just started my own business a month before I gave birth to my second son. So I was like, do I have the time? No, not really, not even a little. And so I saw her post and I was like, oh, I hope they find someone good for that, because she gives everything she's got to her organization. And then I saw it again and I was like, why is this calling to me? And I reached out and I said, Christina, I've lost my mind, but will you tell me more about it? She was like, sure. Like, we would love to have you. And I talked to my husband about it, and he was like, you don't have the time to do that. I know your heart's in a good place, but that's about it. Like, your mind is somewhere else, lost, long gone. And so I messaged her back and was like, oh, I want to do it. Absolutely. Let's go. And she was like, okay, great. We're glad to have you. And that was November of last year. And so I came on as the fundraising coordinator for the organization initially. At the time, there was a program director in seat for the Veteran Pen Pal Project. So that wasn't even on my mind. Well, then in early December, she messaged me. We talk on a regular basis. She's very good about reaching out to everybody in our organization very regularly, on top of things. That woman is very organized. And so she reaches out to me and she's like, hey, Veteran Pen Pal Project, I know you've been involved before. We've had some changes and we really need someone to take over as program director. Will you step in just for a little while? And I was like, yeah, no problem. I will help you out however I can. And the rest is history, because then I was like, I absolutely love this. I want to keep doing this. So that's how I came to have 2 titles in our organization.
Can you tell me a little bit about the Pen Pal Project?
Sure. So when Veteran Pen Pal Project got started, it was to connect veterans in care facilities with civilians. And things were going well. We have quite a few care facilities that are involved. But then we realized, if we really want this program to continue growing, let's open it up a little bit more. And so that's when I brought up to Christina. I said, well, why don't we start allowing active duty service members into the program? And she was like, that's a good idea. And then I said, I've got another idea. So let's start adding military spouses in there as well. So now we have military spouses that are involved, active duty service members, and veterans of all kinds, veterans in care facilities and veterans that are not in care facilities. But we started with the care facilities because we knew we could be protective over their identities. Yeah. We provide the civilian pen pals with like their first name and last initial. And then we send the letters to the care facility and not necessarily to their address, like specifically in the facility. So we allow the facility managers to sort of read them their letters and look over them first and things like that, and which is working out wonderfully. But we go through the civilian counterparts that apply to be in our program, and we're like, okay, we feel like we need to do our due diligence, and so we're looking through social media accounts and things of that nature, so that we can make sure that we're only allowing people into the program that come across as decent people. We're
Yeah.
not just allowing everybody in there and then handing out veterans addresses. So we encourage people to send cards, send letters, ask questions. There's no particular commitment that you have to make. Any veteran service member or military spouse that applies, they can have 3 civilians that are sort of assigned to them. And so it makes it where obviously there's a much larger percentage of civilians than there are
Right.
veterans and spouses. So it makes it where our program stays running and things are up and going. Sometimes people just get busy, and forget to write and things like that. So our veteran always has this support system under them by having a few different civilian counterparts. Boy. Yes, you.
So you brought up that you also open it up to military spouses. For you, how important is it to, know that there is a support system out there for you?
It's vital. It is absolutely vital. I was just in, I'm a social media marketer full time, and yes, you. I was just in a Facebook group for spouses, and I saw somebody write basically a online friendship application, and I was like, you know what? We need the support from each other, but that's also hard because we always say it's only the good ones that move away.
Hmm.
When you make a friend, of course you can stay friends once they're gone, but you need this support in person as well, and you need the support when you move and you are losing these friendships. Of course you always have hope that the friendships will stay connected, and that you'll have this sort of, I can check in, and whenever I check in, it's like old times and things never changed. But unfortunately, you still have this sense of feeling like nothing is constant in your life. Everything is always changing, especially for officer spouses that move constantly. And there's a need for, I was a young spouse. I was 20 when my husband joined. We were fresh out of college, and I had no idea what to expect. And it's almost like we've established, son, I know you own it. Yeah, I know you do. I know you own it. You're getting sleepy. So we've established this opportunity to sort of create a mentorship program, because we've partnered with other not necessarily nonprofit organizations, but other organizations that also place an emphasis on building relationships between spouses. So not only are we you're worse than his doggies. You are worse. My dog's just laying back here like, what is wrong with that child? So we're just giving people the opportunity to make those friendships that you feel like are sort of few and far between. There's still the population out there that desperately wants the military to know, hey, we support you in what you're doing. And that's so important to, make sure that's communicated, because there are times when I'm like, why is my husband doing this? Why have we been doing this for 6 years? Because no one appreciates what he's doing, and it's good to be reminded, like, these people out there, they truly want to know what's going on in our lives because they care, not just because they're nosy, but because they want to be supportive of military spouses. You think he wants to hear you, Brian? I don't think he does. I don't think so. It's just my humble opinion.
No, this is one of the most entertaining interviews I've done.
I'm so sorry. He joked that all of our meetings are family friendly because you can't escape them. They're always there. Almost all of our volunteers, especially the board members, we're all parents, and so we'll be like, oh, pause and like mute mics and disappear, pause, mute videos and disappear, because they are fun, but they like to be in the middle of everything, don't they? Especially your big brother. You're not quite talking yet, but your big brother, he talks all the time. My 3-year-old is getting to the point, he's almost 4, and he is getting to the point where he really recognizes when daddy's gone. And so he asked me the other day, it broke my heart. We're coming up on February, and his little school is talking about, what it means to love someone and things like that. And he came home and he said, I really love daddy. And I was like, that's great, buddy. I really love daddy too. He said, so why doesn't daddy live with us anymore? And I was like, oh, gotta sit down for this one. I was like, buddy, daddy does live with us. Daddy's just gone for work right now. And he was like, oh, okay. It was like I could see the wheels turning in his little, and he was just like, you say he lives with us, but he doesn't sleep here. And so I've actually been, part of our one of our programs, our other programs, it's called It's a Military Child Life.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like we're getting a lot of these military kids involved with sending letters and drawings to active duty service members as well. And he's definitely coming up on that point where I think he can really understand, these are what these people do. Sometimes they have to go overseas and things to make sure you're protected. So we are absolutely supportive of any and all ages being involved. We've got a couple school systems that do our pen pal project as well. They do letters and stuff for the veterans that are in community centers. And it is so sweet to see all these kids of all different age ranges, like drawing soldiers in front of flags, coloring eagles. It is so sweet. My goodness.
So before the interview started, you said that even in the past month it has grown so much. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So when I came on in November, or early December, our program had sort of come to a small standstill because we were reaching out to care facilities, but unable to receive responses, evidently. A lot of the care facilities, I don't know if they're worried about, the safety precaution of things or what, but we would reach out about, hey, we're Veteran Pen Pal Project, and we would love to know if you have any veterans in your facility and whether or not they want to receive letters or cards for kindness. And they just weren't responding. And we were just like, oh gosh, how can we continue to expand our program when we don't have more veterans? Because the civilian sign up was astronomical. And it was exciting to see, every day we would log on to we do it through Google Docs. We have a Google form. Every day we'd log on, there would be 5-10 more civilians signed up. And we're like, Lord, we don't know where to match these people because we have so many civilians. So we had put our program on pause in order to try and reach out to more facilities. And that's when I came to Christina with the idea, well, maybe it's time to expand. Hey, you are being a military brat. You're encompassing everything it means. Hey, just go to sleep. Go to sleep. You're okay. You're okay. There you go. There you go. So I came on and said, well, we should expand our program. There's no reason that we shouldn't have, all these demographics involved, because they live the life too. I understand what it means for him to be gone, and I understand what it means for him to be going through training. Of course, I am not experiencing these things firsthand like he is.
Yeah.
But I'm very much so involved in this lifestyle, and it's not typical. And, I think other military spouses deserve the support just like our husbands do, and wives. I mean, there's a bunch of women in the military. And they were superior, like so supportive of expanding the program. And we did, and we have had a wonderful response from the military community now. And we have, I believe last time I looked, 21 new people signed up from the military side of things since about January 2nd. So our goal for the first quarter of the year is 100, I believe it was 150 new veterans or military spouses or active duty soldiers for the first quarter of the year. And we're already at 21. So the program is just like skyrocketing, and it's so exciting to see. And we have a number of awesome businesses that have come on and said, you know what, we love what you're doing. We can see that you're making a difference, and we want to be involved as well. One of the businesses that found us, it's a small, I say small, they are not small. It's a craft company out of Utah. It's called Country Craft Creations. The owner, Tamara, she's a doll. She's a veteran spouse. And she was like, okay, I want to partner up with you guys. I will start selling card kits. And for every card kit that's purchased, I'll donate the proceeds from the card kit. And so now we have these people buying the card kits, hand making their own cards and sending them through the program too. And so it's really neat to see, like, a lot of the cards are sent to the PO box here, so I can send them out individually to veteran. We have some older veterans that are still care with their families. So in order to, keep their information protected, we have the civilian counterparts sending cards to our PO box, and then I handle sending them to the veteran himself. And all these like handmade cards show up. We have some members that'll send like 15 cards at a time, and they're like, you just distribute them wherever you need. Whoever needs like a thank you card, a Valentine's Day card, you just send these right on out. I'm like, okay, great. I love to see it. It's even being involved as the program director, they're not even my cards. And I open it and it makes me so incredibly happy, because they'll send them in like a manila folder and not like individually closed, because they're like, you use these for whatever veteran needs them. You bring on a new veteran and you need to send him things until you get him pen pals, just send these. It just makes me happy. And I had forgotten how much a piece of mail that you're not expecting can do that for you. I'm set up where UPS sends me alerts, like what I'm getting for the day. And it always ruins my mood. It's always bills. Don't appreciate that.
Not as fun, no.
No, absolutely. It's much more exciting to go out to the mailbox and find something like my grandma still loves to just send cards. I mean, every holiday, St. Patrick's Day, she's sending a card. You know, I struggle to even send out Christmas cards, and she is on top of every birthday, anniversary, holiday you could ask for. It's just so sweet to go out there and get that card. And that probably only took her a few minutes, you know, and a 20-cent stamp. But that stuff means a lot to people. I feel like it's especially true with I'm a millennial, but for our prior generation, that means a lot. It means a lot. And I'm happy to be the person that's in charge of facilitating that.
So how
We're
can people be a part of the program?
Sure. So we have added our links to our website. If you visit itsamilitarylife.org, um, there's a tab for Veteran Pen Pal Project. And that page itself is split up into tabs, and it lets you know everything you need to know, how you get involved, how to sign up if you're a care facility, how to sign up if you're a civilian, and how to sign up if you're a military, you know, service member, spouse, or veteran yourself. And we have a small, my brain, Google Sheet. It's like a small little questionnaire.
Right.
And you just fiddle through the questionnaire, fill out your name and your address. But we also ask you things like, what things interest you? So if you like to, I like digital marketing, summer, and the East Coast. Well, then we're going to look through and we're going to see, okay, well, Camille on the military spouse side of things, she likes the outdoors and she likes summer and she's on the East Coast. Well, we may find a civilian that's like, I like camping and traveling and things of that nature. And we want to match people that have similar hobbies. We're not just going in and saying, okay, 1, 2, 3, there for him, 1, 2, 3, there for her. We want these to become very meaningful relationships. So we're trying to get to know people so that we can play matchmaker.